Welcome back to Talking Risk. It's a podcast by a couple of entrepreneurs for a whole bunch of entrepreneurs. Every week, Ricky and I have on business founders, owners, C-level executives, and consultants, and they talk about their experiences. They talk about their losses and their victories in search of their legacies. And we hope in doing this that we can expand our knowledge, our business education, your business education, and we hope we can inspire others. We love owning our own business, and we want others to take that leap and do the same thing so you can build and control your own legacy. My name is Eric Reese. I'm a CPA and a lawyer, and I own a law firm called Aspen Legal. You can find that on the web at aspenlawteam.com. And before Ricky introduces himself, I will remind everyone that we remain on location at the Lake of the Ozarks. The Lake of the Ozarks is one of, if not the most unique economies in the United States. It is absolutely exploding, only helped by the national media that try to cut us down. Boy, you try to cut us down here at the lake, and what do? We double our tourism. So bring it on. We love it down here, and this is where I'll retire. We are in one of our homes. You can find all of our homes at lozvacations.com. Ricky?
Ricky Hall, founder of Nutrition HQ and Nutrition HQ Franchising.
All right, where are you on the web? You always forget that.
nhq.rocks. Okay. nhq.rocks.
Okay, very good. So the best part of this episode is our guests, and we'll start with Mary. Mary?
Yes.
Introduce yourself, will you, and your business.
Sure. My name is Mary Young. I'm part owner of Jeffrey's Prime Rib and Lobster. I've been at the lake 40 years this coming Saturday.
Wow, good for you.
I came just for the summer.
Yeah. And you stayed.
Right. And I stayed, and I came from the middle of Chicago, 4 blocks from Wrigley Field.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Born and raised, so go Cubs go.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
And I was 18 years old.
They're going to lead a little bit more than Go Cubs Go this year.
We'll talk about that later, sir.
And,
don't even.
And Jeff, how about you?
My name's Jeff Super. I am part owner of Jeffrey's Prime Rib and Lobster also. I came down here in 1983 for 1 year.
Wow.
And here we are almost 40 years later. And I had a job opportunity to come down here to work as a chef at the Potted Steer restaurant. Open 5 nights a week, dinner only, 9 months a year. And I thought, this sounds like a school teacher's job. And I jumped on it. And like I said, almost 40 years later, here I am.
That's awesome.
That's great.
And we won't ask the question why it's not called Mary's or Jeffrey's and Mary's. I'm sure this discussion has been had.
Go ahead, Jeff.
It's all yours.
Well, I mean, you would think it wouldn't be, but it's the hardest thing to come up with a name.
Right.
And, it's like naming a kid because it's going to be stuck the rest of its life. So we toyed around with all kinds of names, and here we are. We were on the golf course at Dogwood Hills, so I thought Tavern on the Green would be good, but that's not there forever. So here we are.
Well, you picked a good one because everybody knows Jeffrey's at the lake. And
well, thanks.
We're going to certainly get into that in a second. But before we do that, Ricky and I like to do a little segment that we call Hot Topics.
Hot Topics.
Wow, 3 in a row. He hit that button. Amazing work there. Hot Topics is a topic of business discussion that Ricky and I have had over the course of the last week. And Ricky, we were talking about the importance of service standards and really product standards. And it's important to enforce them not only in a franchise brand and across the brand. People ask me all the time, it's like they look at a franchise document, they say, why is this so one-sided? It feels so uncomfortable. And I said, they're trying to maintain a standard of consistency, right? And whether you like McDonald's or dislike McDonald's, a Happy Meal is a Happy Meal is a Happy Meal. And no, you don't get mice in Happy Meals. So if anybody ever alleges that they think they got a fried mouse in a Happy Meal, the answer is absolutely not, you didn't, okay? But we understand a shakedown, certainly in the legal industry. But standards are everything, whether you own a chain or whether you own a single restaurant or a single unit. like Jeffrey's, you have to, number one, identify what those standards are. And then you have to, I hate to say it, ride your people.
Reinforce.
Yeah, to make sure that those standards are followed.
Yeah, and as people have listened to this show, I left my GNC franchises because I didn't like that we weren't able to service the customer anymore the right way.
Yep.
I left a Complete Nutrition franchise because the quality of the products were going downhill.
Right.
And that's all part of the whole customer service or customer experience.
Yeah, and so we were talking about, with respect to Jeffrey's, a fine dining restaurant, I mean, you can control product quality in part by making sure that you have quality vendors, but a cook can spoil the broth, right? You can take a nice piece of meat and it ends up not tasting all that great unless, again, you're enforcing these standards against or among all your employees. How challenging is that, guys, at Jeffrey's?
Well, I'll tell you, we have a meeting once a week every Saturday, and we talk about our standards every Saturday. And it starts with, as the customer comes through the front door, I always say, the way we live at home is different than the way we work.
Yeah.
Because we make our money at work, and it needs to have certain standards. The front door windows have to be clean. The bathrooms have to be clean.
Yep.
The uniforms have to be ironed. And actually, as you see Mary's shirt and all of our servers, they all take them to a dry cleaners and have them properly pressed.
Of course.
If they come in with a wrinkle, we have an ironing board, and they actually have to iron at the restaurant. And just 2 weeks ago, I had to show a new employee how to use an iron.
Wow.
And
we get a lot of compliments on the uniforms.
Right.
That they're clean. I mean, if you start noticing when you go to restaurants, if the bathrooms aren't clean, the uniforms aren't clean, you're kind of like, what's the kitchen look like?
Yeah, and I'm shocked.
Exactly.
I mean, with respect to bathrooms, and I won't name, there are a number of great restaurants we like down at the lake. But man, the bathrooms, it's like, why don't you have somebody come in here every hour on the hour and make sure, just simple stuff. Why are there paper towels on the floor, right?
Overflowing.
That's what I do during the night.
Yeah.
I go in there. We have one girl, one of our servers, that's all her side work is.
Right.
To clean the bathrooms, mopping the floor. I mean,
It's important.
it really is. And she does an awesome job at it. And it takes her that's only her side work. And it takes her the whole time when she gets there.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
we have a unique situation because Mary's out in front of the restaurant. I'm back in the kitchen. And in the kitchen, our policy is do not serve any food you would not be proud to serve to your mother, your father, or your best friend.
Of course.
And we've had a few instances where something was going out that did not look good. And, I don't mean to be the bad guy, but this is how we make our money. And I'd assume throw it away than I would serve it to somebody and put our name on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've been very fortunate. You go into our lounge, we want to make sure all of our bottles are wiped down, all of our glasses are wiped down, they're nice and sparkly, and we eat out quite a bit, and we feel we're very fortunate with the staff we have to keep up the standards.
One of the quality standards that I like about a restaurant when I go out is, make sure they're not sitting around too long, right? If you get a drink in my hand, I don't care if I eat for an hour, okay?
You got that right. Or if you're approached.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll be right with you. Or,
Right.
at least,
Get a drink in my hand, right? And then I'm good,
Exactly.
In fact, I don't care if we eat at all.
And the more drinks you have, you won't. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, and that's like anybody that comes in our stores, greet them within 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That does a couple things. First, hey, you know they're there.
Yep.
You may be with another customer. Hey, Mary, glad you came in. I'll be with you in a second. That also cuts down on shoplifting in retail.
Interesting. Yeah. The other thing is that, my eldest daughter is in hospitality out in Los Angeles, and I say to her all the time, I'm a fan of something that's dying, okay? And that's a lounge, all right? You can't find lounges anymore. You find bars, all right? And all the bars have got all the TVs going and everybody seems to want a sports bar. I like a lounge. I like a dark lounge with leather chairs, and I miss the cigar bars for sure.
Oh yeah,
but I love a lounge, and I said to Hannah, my eldest, I said, make your customer feel special, that they're unique. I know to you they're not, because you've just seen 500 people that night. But even that 500th customer, make them feel special. Make them feel like they belong there, because whether they're a big shot or not, if you treat them like a big shot, they're going to want to come back for sure, right? And that makes up for maybe a couple of misses, right? Because they're coming back because, hey, if the bartender knows what I like to drink, I love that. I love walking in a bar and the person doesn't even need to think. Now, you got to be a regular, of course, but the person doesn't even need to think. It's like Johnny Black, right? It's coming up, right?
So we like to acknowledge all of our customers when they come in, or so much when they leave, and we tell them thank you, and that goes a long ways.
Well, I will tell you this, that Mary has a way at the front desk, whether you do know the people or don't know the people, I will tell you this, that every time we go in, I feel like we're old friends, and I feel like, that welcome back is important.
Well,
right?
That's nice, because I really, you look familiar to me, but
Sure.
you've been in and out of there.
Sure.
And I try to remember them all, and I have to stay at that front door,
right? Because
the minute I leave, people gather up there and they're like wondering, where I go? Do I seat myself?
Right.
There's nobody here. So
Ricky's going to excuse himself to deal with the dog. It sounds like he has a bad cough.
I thought that was Jeff for a minute.
That dog has been sitting on my left foot for most of these podcasts, but now he's all excited about something. So Jeffrey's is unique in a lot of different ways, but one of the ways that always amazes me is the restaurant is not on the water.
Right.
And at first, our first house that we bought down here was down in Tantera before Jimmy Buffett's group, and it's not even Jimmy Buffett, it's a licensee.
Right. And he's been there a couple of times, but that's about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, we drove by Jeffrey's, and it's like, that looks like a nice restaurant, but it's not on the water, right? And so how much of a challenge is that? It must not be a challenge, because you guys are packed all the time.
So if they do want to come by boat, Redhead is really nice.
Yeah.
And they park there, and then they get a cab up.
Oh, interesting.
But it doesn't happen too often.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, when they call and they ask if we could come by boat, I said, of course you can, as long as you're pulling it behind your vehicle. And they always get a chuckle out of it.
Yeah, that's true. But
Right.
Redhead is really good about people park there and they Uber it up or...
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's right down... We're way close, so...
Yeah, and if you're a regular to Jeffrey's, you actually like sitting there looking at the spinny thing, which my wife made me buy one. In fact, I think I called you guys and said, where did you get that spinny thing, right?
We saw a ton of...
those are actually made by an artist named Michael Metzler out of Eldon, Missouri, and we have the biggest ones he's ever made.
Yeah, they ain't cheap either, by the way.
No, they're not, but they're pretty cool.
I was hoping you were closed when I called you.
Sorry.
Well, the other thing is you can always watch the deer, and man, sometimes we sit there and we count the deer, and it's like, I'm up to 16 deer.
Oh, last night somebody counted 38 of them out there. And then
crazy.
There was a fox not too long ago out there with them. And
oh, wow.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
We offer binoculars for deer viewing out there.
And when you're from a city, you don't get to see that many deer all together. So, it's like a zoo almost.
Yeah, so I hang out with, again, it's going to sound horrible, sound like Ron Burgundy from Anchorman, but I hang out with some fairly influential people, despite how I might look today. And everybody knows Jeffrey's.
They do.
Okay? And that is kudos to what we talked about, the service standards, the product standards that you guys abide by. But, you guys really are just consistently good. How tough is that over the years?
It's way tough.
Yeah.
It's way tough.
Especially with the helps. We're lucky. We have pretty good help.
We'll get there in a second.
Yeah. But as far as like finding food, like right now, it's a little bit tough on some things.
I tell you, lobster's at an all-time high. Beef's at an all-time high. But we have to have it when you have prime rib and lobster on your menu. It's kind of hard to say.
We're out.
We're out.
Yeah.
We can't.
And we do not run out of anything. My feeling is if you go to McDonald's and they're out of hamburgers, you're going to be disappointed.
Yes.
You come to our place, we're going to have what we have on our menu. A lot of restaurants have an exorbitant amount of wine, but they're out of half of it.
Yeah.
They have a lot of scotches, bourbons on their menu, but they're out of half of it.
Well, I mean, seriously, people are fickle. The consumer's fickle, and there's a lot of choices. So, kudos to restaurants who make sure they're not out of stuff, right?
Very
well,
good.
and it's not easy, especially nowadays. It's tougher than ever, I would say.
Is it?
Yep.
Now, why is it so difficult? Well, first of all, let's go to the beef prices and the lobster prices. Why is everything so darned expensive these days?
Well, they blame it on COVID.
Ricky and my theory is 2020 was the year of COVID. 2021 is the year of blaming COVID.
Well, there you go.
Exactly.
Well, they say the meat packers aren't working in the factories, correct, Jeff?
Yep, they're not working. I was actually on the phone this morning with our beef supplier.
Okay.
And, they said they're usually killing 10 to 15,000 head of cattle through our slaughterhouses a week, and they're down to like 8,000 a week right now.
Oh, wow.
Because they just don't have the manpower.
They don't have the manpower. They don't have the people to do it.
Interesting. Yeah. Where is your meat supplier? Down in Texas?
Well, actually, we use two of them. It's called Buckhead Beef.
Okay.
Out of down in Texas. And then I can't think of their sister company, but they're owned by Cisco Corporation owns both of them.
Okay. You ever drive through Hereford, Texas?
I have not.
Hereford, Texas smells like cow dung and blood.
Yeah.
I bet.
Right? Yeah. And when you go through there on a motorcycle, woo, you get a big old sniff of both, right? It's weird. There's big cattle processing down there. So yeah, let's talk about finding good help or finding help, period. It is amazing. I mean, I've run an ad for an assistant at the law firm since March 16th, and the few resumes I get, I could have sworn they're only giving me a resume so they can go back to unemployment and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. It's like, you are totally not qualified to do this,
Well,
it's tough.
Luckily that's going to stop. Some of it's going to stop soon.
June 12th is supposed to be the day.
Missouri's going to end that extra $300 a week, and I think that's a good thing. And quite frankly, and Ricky and I are conservatives, and we're unabashedly conservative. But the thing is, and yes, I'm sorry, viewers, I was in a Trump boat parade and enjoyed myself thoroughly. Right. But the thing is that, we talk about this unemployment, and we believe that it's in part the Fed's attempt to push that $15 minimum wage, because now you'd have to pay somebody $17 an hour to get them off of the unemployment benefits. And it's just outrageous. And I just read a story 2 days ago. A couple is complaining that, gee whiz, our unemployment benefits are going to go away in September. I guess the Fed's going to end it in September. And it's like, go to work.
Look out your window. There's help wanted signs everywhere.
Most certainly are.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And it's very frustrating. And I know everybody needs to be, somewhat politically correct, because you guys get Democrats and Republicans to come to your restaurant. And I do appreciate that. But it's tough when I read the national media saying that there aren't enough jobs. I can't drive down Main Street without seeing 100 different help wanted signs. So there's plenty of jobs out there, and it's very frustrating as an employer, I'm sure.
Well, driving down here, I spotted 2 signs that were bigger than your windows, the windows there on the side of buildings. Help wanted. A school bus with a big banner across the side of it. Drivers needed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
There's not a business down here that's not looking for help.
Yeah.
And it's whether it's in a convenience store, a grocery store, a restaurant, a plumber, every aspect, there's help wanted down here.
Yeah, and so tell us, now you have a double challenge, because You have obviously the folks that are not working for whatever reason, and that's a national impact. But you also have a regional impact. It's the lake, right? And so how difficult is that? Take COVID out of it and take the federal unemployment benefits out of it. Just how difficult is that to get workers? And they're not really seasonal workers. I know that you guys take off for a couple of months when the lake is, essentially dies down, which, by the way, are my favorite months at the lake.
Mine
by the
too,
way.
actually.
It's so beautiful and so quiet down here. But tell me what a challenge that is to get the workers on a yearly basis without having to retrain everybody every year.
Well, we've been very lucky for the fact that we're only open 5 days a week, dinner only. Okay. Most restaurants down here are open 7 days a week, lunch and dinner.
Lots of people.
You don't know what days you're going to have off. You don't know if you're going to have to work a split shift, a lunch shift, a dinner shift, have a Monday off, have a Thursday off. We're always closed Sundays and Mondays.
Okay.
So we have a few benefits that other restaurants don't.
There's more certainty.
More certainty, and it goes back to the consistency. So we have the same wait staff when you come in for dinner. We have the same person on our deep fryers, or the same person on the grill, or the same person breading your product or making your salads. So we have much more consistency than others.
Interesting.
We could be open more days, but then by the time you pay their overtime, it's not, and they're going to be worked to death. So
burn out.
Right now, there are several restaurants that are actually closing extra days because they cannot find help.
Oh.
And their employees are burned out. So.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, right? I never thought about that, right?
That's true.
And what a great way to maintain that quality, because it's the same people doing those same things that they're used to. They should be experts at it, right?
Yep.
Well, and they do really well because they're there every night, and Jeff is always in the kitchen making sure of it.
Yeah.
And
Now, running a restaurant, I've heard from everybody who runs a restaurant, it's hard work.
They all say it's fun.
Let's open a restaurant. It'll be fun.
Right, exactly. I'm going to sit at the bar down here, and I'm going to get free drinks, and, that's the way it's going to work, right?
We don't do. I mean, we don't participate. We don't sit at the bar and drink.
This is your business. This is how you make money.
We actually have a policy. We do not drink at work at all. We do not conduct any business while we've had anything to drink. And a lot of restaurants don't think the same as we do. And they'll.
Ricky and I have the same policy.
Yeah.
I think you're lying.
We don't work when we drink. That's our policy.
You don't drink when you work.
You're right. All right. So it's tough, though. I mean, it's a lot of hours, right? And even if you're only open for dinner, you're not only open for dinner. Your mind is on that restaurant 24/7.
Right.
Yep. But today we're actually closed, but the Missouri Trap Shooters Association, people come in from all over the United States to shoot in this contest.
Yeah.
And we were out there putting our signage out.
Of course.
Out there. So
Because they'll be in for dinner.
Yeah,
we'll be
of
in
course.
for dinner.
Yeah. So describe and this is probably unfair, but you may track this data. Describe your average customer, all right? Because Jeffrey's is fine dining. This is not, going to Steak and Shake for a burger. This is fine dining. So who are these people? Are they folks that you're just used to seeing? Are they tourists that are coming in? You're right by a number of golf courses right there in Osage Beach. Who is your average customer?
Well, our average customer, we have several locals that come in on a regular basis. We have golfers, we have boaters. They come, I always say, I used to say, a third of our customers are from Kansas City, a third are from St. Louis, and a third is from everywhere else.
Yeah.
But more recently, we've had so many people coming. We just talked to someone yesterday. They're moving here from the state of Washington. Mary spoke with some people that are from Los Angeles, Texas. Yeah. People are just coming to the lake.
Thousands have moved here.
Yes.
And people come here for our, whether it's a high school prom or their wedding. We've actually had people get married at the restaurant. they're from all over.
Yeah. So my brother-in-law, one of my brother-in-laws, his name was Phil. Well, he's not dead. Phil Gustafson, and he retired, and they retired in Palm Desert, California. And big golfer, and he was on a I can't remember the name of the course, Indian Wells golf course. This is a famous golf course, and they are on the course, right? Very expensive house, and he did quite well in hospital administration over the years. Well, he couldn't stay retired, so the hospital in Jeff City hired him on a consulting basis, and he spent a year and a half down here. His favorite restaurant? Jeffrey's.
Oh, that's nice.
And he could go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and he has been everywhere. And his favorite restaurant was Jeffrey's. And he liked that skillet. You've got a
Hunter's skillet.
Oh, my gosh, right?
We actually were just talking about that on Saturday night.
You asked about our customers.
Yeah.
We actually have a couple billionaires that come eat at our restaurant.
Crazy.
I won't tell you what their names are.
Well, let us know when we're there. When they're there, we'll come with business cards.
But these people tell us they eat all over the world. This one guy has offices in 6 different countries.
And he says, go ahead.
He says, we eat all over the world, and they were in the state of California, and they said, they called Mary to make a reservation and make sure that they could get there at 5:00 on a certain day.
And she said, that's all we've been thinking about the last week is coming to eat at Jeffrey's.
And they can eat anywhere.
That's great. That's amazing.
Well, but I will tell you this, that similar to, we want our homes to be, so when families leave, we want them to think, that's our lake home, right? So next year, they're going to come right back to the same home because they enjoyed their time there. I will tell you that Jeffrey's is our restaurant. That's where, in Tantera is where all of our properties were at one time. We just started venturing out a couple of years ago. We bought one on Cherokee, and then we bought this one, which is on Duckhead, and we were scared to death. We thought, it's only going to work in Tantera. It's like, wow, were we wrong? Okay, the lake is popular all around the lake, which we found out. But Jeffrey's feels like this is our restaurant, right?
That's nice.
And when we're there, it feels like we belong there. And that's saying a lot about a restaurant, okay? And I won't name the others, very famous restaurants, and we have fun there, okay? I will tell you who is doing a good job with us is the folks at JB Hooks with the singer. They have a singer on Thursday night, Joe. Can't remember his last name, but we go there to listen to Joe sing, which is kind of fun, right? But it's so nice to have a place where you feel like this is our place.
Right. This is
our place. And that kind of loyalty, no marketing, no advertising can buy. It's the experience that they've had there and the experience they continue to have there.
That keeps them coming back.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So the challenge of not being on the lake is really no challenge at all.
If you build it, they will come kind of deal.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
I've been down here almost 40 years. Mary has also. And we've worked at the nice restaurants, the Potted Steer, the Blue Heron. We opened JJ's at the Copper Pot over in Lori. And we have people that have followed us around, and we're lucky to have a good reputation down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, has Jeffrey's always been where it is now, or was there a different location?
No, we're actually starting our 5th year there now.
Oh, seriously?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Huh. Okay. So you lease the space. You don't buy the space.
We do lease the space. We have a 25-year lease on it.
Wow.
So
okay.
We're ready to retire when we're done.
Yeah. Well, don't retire like the Blue Heron guy did. Don't just give it up.
No.
Sell it to somebody. But here's a challenge. That's your baby. So how do you sell it to somebody and still make sure that Jeffrey's is going to be Jeffrey's? Or maybe you don't.
We're not selling it.
That's how.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how.
On the same, we only seat 83 people on the inside dining room.
Yes.
So we've been offered if we wanted to expand it or build a new building. But, we don't want to work breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We want to have a full house all the time.
It works.
Yeah. And we've been busy every Saturday since we've opened in March this year. we have filled up with reservations at 5 o'clock.
Easier to fill 83 seats versus 153 seats.
Exactly.
Right.
And, I'm almost 60 years old, and Mary's not far behind me, and we'll need to set the world on fire. So.
Yeah.
We're good with it.
Well, it is interesting. So when I first came to the lake this season, right, it was fairly early, and we're checking on the houses and trying to get them ready for the season. And I drive down 54. I start down that path, right, and I'm heading toward now down KK to check on the houses at Margaritaville and then the condo at the Knolls and what have you. The first sign that I look for in whether the lake's going to have a good year is how crowded are those restaurants, not on Friday and Saturday, but how crowded are those restaurants on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, it was early in the season, and it was, holy smokes, get ready, because this is going to be a big season.
We really haven't had a slow day yet this season.
I tell you what's happened a lot are the people that have already owned condos down here prior to COVID.
Right.
And like yourself, you have some homes down here. People started coming to the lake area and working remotely from their lake homes. So last year was just a fantastic year.
Right? Mm-hmm. Better view than in St. Louis, I'll tell you that now.
Well, I had to make a IRA contribution with TD Ameritrade last year, and when I called him, he says, well, I'm sitting on O Road over in Laurie, Missouri, looking at my condo. And,
which was weird because,
Well, we talked about the positives that COVID brought, and one of the positives was people have gotten used to working remotely, right? And gotten good at it. I think that was the challenge for me, because when I'd come down to the lake before or even stay at home, it was like, oh, let's see what happens to be on TV, or, hey, that fridge looks pretty good. And, the thing is the discipline of really getting yourself in the habit of working from home. That was the big challenge for me. But COVID brought some great things to us, as weird as it sounds. And one of that is the true ability to work remotely. And if it weren't for the fact that I got kids in school, even though I'm 58 years old, I got kids still in grade school. Hell, this is exactly where I'd be, because I like that view from my office better than, Locust. In St. Louis,
and work remotely efficiently and productively.
Absolutely, right. So that's certainly the trick. So let's talk about more earlier than now. How did Jeffrey's ultimately get started? When did you decide to not work for others in the restaurant business, but create your own restaurant? Because that's a big step, I would think.
Well, the way it started from day one was I started washing dishes when I was 13 years old at a place called Kansas City Country Club. It was in the neighborhood that I lived in, and I worked at another country club called Mission Hills Country Club. They were both in our backyards. I started washing dishes. I worked my way up the ladder from washing dishes to a cook's helper. Come senior year in high school, you have to do something. So they just opened up a culinary program at this school that I attended. And when I was 21, Mr. Bohr, who owned the Potted Steer restaurant, called the school to ask somebody to come interview because his chef was leaving after 20-some years.
Yeah.
So I came down in 83 for 1 year, and then in 84 we opened the Blue Heron. And I was the original chef there for 27 years.
Well, how old were you when you came down? 21?
21. And
Good
Mr. Bohr
took a huge chance, because we certainly wouldn't hire a 21 now.
No.
21-year-old now.
He took a huge chance.
Right.
And I followed his direction, and he was a great mentor. And I was with him for 27 seasons.
Huh.
And anyway, it was just time for us to do something different. So the Potted Steer was being closed. So Mary and myself and another partner, we opened JJ's at the Copper Pot over in Laurie. And after about 5 years or so, it kind of went south on us. So Mary and I decided just to open our own place. And they were just closed down Dogwood Hills Golf Course. That was a clubhouse.
Yeah.
And Mary happened to be driving by and walking her dog.
Well, I started walking my dog. We live right over there. And I started walking my dog on the old golf course. I thought, great walk.
Yeah.
And I started noticing, they had people in there. So we didn't know what we were going to do. I was going to actually take a full-time job at Bentley's because I worked part-time.
So while he was chefing, for decades, where were you working?
Well, I started at the Potted Steer in 1984.
Okay, so you were in the restaurant business as well.
Oh, yeah.
One of you didn't bring the other one into the restaurant.
No. I met him.
Yeah. Both restaurants were owned by the same gentleman.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
So again, I was 20 years old, and he hired me to work the front door.
Okay.
And I had an 18-month-old daughter. I was married at the time, and I did it for nights, and I was great having winters off.
Sure.
And you know how them waitresses look at them cooks.
Well, I wasn't.
Well, of course.
Actually, my ex-husband, who I was married to, he has his own restaurant down here as well.
They understand the machinery that makes a restaurant too.
Right. So anyways, I worked there for 25 years. I was 25 years. And then when that closed, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I have to do something. So anyways, we did JJ's at the Copper Pot, which worked out great for a short time.
Well, hold on. So when did you guys get married? When did you guys get together?
We've been together. We're not married.
Oh, boy.
We've been together 22 years. Yeah.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks.
So anyways, I was walking my dog, and I thought, I don't know. I was going to go to work at Bentley's, and actually you were going to maybe do a pest we're going to do something different.
Oh, wow.
And then...
why? You were just tired of the restaurant business?
Well, we just... I don't know. Something different.
Oh,
and so I called the guy. I knew in my head who he was.
Yeah.
His name is Gary Mitchell, and he'll laugh if he hears this, but I looked him up on the internet, and it was his cell phone number. And I called him. I said, hey, you don't know who I am, but what are you going to do with that old building there? And he said... I don't know. He goes, I'd like to have a restaurant one day, but I don't know. Maybe office buildings.
Right.
And then so he found out who I was, and he goes, let's meet next week.
Wow.
So I took Jeff, and Jeff's first words were, this ain't going to work. It's way too small.
You have to realize that place was built to make hamburgers and hot dogs for the golfers.
Remind me where this is. I know where this is, but I can't.
Where we're at now, where Jeffrey's is now.
Oh,
that was the clubhouse to Dogwood Hills Golf Course.
Oh, kiddo.
And that was started in 1962.
Okay.
And the left side of the building was they sold beer and hamburgers and hot dogs to the golfers.
And all you can eat pancakes.
Who built that building? Do you know?
Well, Gary Mitchell, he became partners in, I believe, 81, 82.
Yeah, I'm not sure who built
Jim
Duffus and
Oh, okay.
But anyways, on the right hand side where the bar is now, was their pro shop.
And we combined it all together.
Yeah, we combined it all together, and Jeff redid the kitchen to the way he wanted, and kind of, we could use a bigger kitchen, honestly, but it is what it is for now.
Yeah, we're limited on what we can do because of the size that we were dealt. So but we're happy with it.
Yeah, good. It works for sure.
It works.
What was it? Almost 2 years construction, year and a half.
Yeah.
Oh,
and to redo it, with all the codes and
that was all your money, or the landlord chipped in?
Well, it was some of our money, a lot of their money, and then we pay them back.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
So it worked. And that's where we are. And we have a phenomenal relationship with them.
Yep.
And
how scary was that, really?
It was very scary.
Yeah. I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning thinking, what am I doing? I had to put 5 houses up for collateral.
Yeah.
And I thought, what am I doing? We're going to open. No one's going to come.
I could be in pest control.
I should.
Could be killing bugs.
Well, I thought pest control. I was up at the Blue Heron, and I tell you what would happen is the pest control people would come up. They'd be there 15 minutes and give us a bill for $60.
Yeah,
I thought, that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good money. So
it
I
was a
looked
totally
into
change
it.
of pace. And I was working at Starbucks, which I still work there.
Okay.
And I thought, well, we're going to make this work without having a restaurant.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. No, it is scary, right? We've often talked about the beginning stage of opening up your own business, and I describe it as there's no safety net, right? Mm-mm. One thing you don't realize, though, is there's really no safety net when you're working for somebody else, too. Because if they decide to take the net away, the net's gone.
Right.
Right? And you have no power over that, no influence.
Well, yeah, we didn't get paychecks for the first...
Oh, well, it was almost
a year.
Almost a year before I cashed my first paycheck. I
really?
just lived on rice and beans, like Dave Ramsey says.
Rice and beans.
I recommend it to anybody, though. If you want to do it, jump and go.
Yeah, but you got to give it your all, because that's.
Oh, you can't cut corners. You can't half-ass it, especially in food and service.
Yeah, that's his favorite words, half-ass.
Yeah, I do. I tell people, I said, we're not going to half-ass it here. Or something that will be done at work. I said, someone did this half-ass. And I learned that from my parents. If I got a C in class, they said, why don't you get a B? If you got a B, why don't you get an A? If you got an A, why not an A+?
Yeah.
So,
right. So was Jeffrey's always the focus of it? Was it always the prime rib? Now I like the filet, but was it always steak and lobster, or did you start it out with a different vision? Did that change?
No, it was always going to be high end batter fried lobster. I've used to buy the product up at the Blue Heron for the Pot of Steer for out of my 27 years, I probably bought the product at least 20 of those years.
Okay.
I had the contacts, but I would call them and tell them how much we need to buy. So I got to learn who the buyers were or who the sellers were. And I have probably supervised more batter fried lobster anywhere than anyone else has.
Interesting, because Brad Fitzner, buddy of mine, buddy of yours now, he always says, you got to get the fried lobster. I got to get the fried lobster.
So good.
But every time I go in there, I don't look at the menu. It's like, I want the filet. Okay.
Well, you can get a piece of lobster with the filet.
Okay. Well, I got to do that, because he raves about it. Right. But I know what I like, right? I always get the same. Get the same stuff, which is okay. All right. So you brought some stuff with you, and I want you to go through all that stuff, because some of it looks like proprietary stuff.
And you got to see this bottle. The design is absolutely amazing. I've been sitting here looking at your logo with the steer and the lobster claw.
Hold that up to the camera. That is awesome. We're gonna break some. Wow, that is so awesome. Look at that.
It's etched in there.
It's etched, yeah.
That is a Central Coast California Cabernet,
and it's pretty good.
It's very good.
Are you guys behind blending it yourself?
We are
hire
now,
a blender.
Yeah,
right.
That is amazing.
But we sell this for two reasons. One, we sell it at the restaurant, and then people also buy it as a souvenir to take home to Lake Ozarks.
Yeah, of course.
So we have that, and then we have our PT's coffee, and this coffee company we use is out of Topeka, Kansas, and when we were introduced to it, you would think that they won the best coffee roaster in the nation in their trade organization. It's called Roast Magazine. They were voted the best coffee roaster in the nation.
Wow.
And most people would think it would either be in San Francisco, California, New York, Chicago, but not Topeka, Kansas.
Yes.
And when Mary and I went to view their facility, these guys have been in business several years, and they call it a slurping room, where they actually taste wine like other people taste. They taste coffee like other people taste wine.
Interesting.
And they were coffee gurus before coffee was even popular.
And we actually mixed the beans. Like I said, I worked at Starbucks. I still do for 12 years. And, we picked the beans for this. So we did.
Yep. And we call, and they roast it, and they'll put the date it was roasted on.
Well, so I don't know about everybody else. So when I'm at a restaurant, particularly, of course, a fine restaurant, and we're going to finish the dinner off with dessert and coffee, or just with coffee, okay? Often I am tasting this coffee, and it's like, God, that's good coffee, okay? And I don't know whether it's good coffee because it's fresh and because I just finished a great meal, but it's like, man, I wish I could get that same taste that I got at Jeffrey's or got at whatever, right? And sometimes that's hard to do, right? Even when you know the coffee that they're serving, right? So that's very interesting, right? Because I'm sure a lot of people go away going, hey, how do I get that taste at home?
And we don't grind it until we're ready to brew it.
Stays very fresh.
Like he happened to bring a ground one.
Yeah.
But anyways...
Very cool.
It's
we buy this in 5-pound bags that we use at the restaurant, but then we sell these retail because people just absolutely love our coffee.
Have you ever had a coffee vacuolator at the restaurant?
Yes, they come out and they got a big old machine.
They do. It looks like a science project.
Or something else, some people say, but...
And I typically, one of those
hookah or something else.
It does look like that. And then we typically get the truffles.
The truffles we get from California, actually, a company out of California.
And really all you need is one.
That's
right?
all. It's just the right amount, though.
It is just the right amount. Right.
And then we also serve a sweetened whipped cream, which we call schlag.
Oh, that I haven't had.
Well, if you got the coffee, you got the schlag.
Oh, well, I sweeten my coffee up just by putting my finger in it usually. Yeah. But
that's weird. I do that too.
All right. So what else do we have here?
Okay. The other thing we have here is our house salad dressing, and the story
my
behind
wife loves it.
The story behind this was the man I went to work for in 1983 gave me the recipe in 1983 and said, do not share this with nobody.
Oh.
And to this date, I have never shared it.
I don't even have
trade
it.
Secret.
I have not shared it with anybody.
Well, who makes it? You make it?
Every day.
I mean, he makes every day.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy.
I've never let no one else make it.
Huh?
They'll blend it together, but I make all the wet ingredients, all the dry ingredients. And over the years, the person I worked for, Mr. Bohr, he had given this recipe to different people, but everyone always will add a different tablespoon.
They want a twist.
They want to throw their twist on it.
This is the original.
This is the original. And like I said, I make it every day.
So how does that hold up in the bottle?
Well, I've had it for 3 months in my refrigerator at home, and it's still good.
So you
Not
refrigerate
this bottle.
Not this bottle,
No. But the way to store it is refrigerated, even before you take the cap off.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
And
it has a lot of onions in it.
I send it through the mail all over the country.
We mail a lot of it.
Oh, you too.
Last year I bought I'm thinking probably about 4,000 bottles. And
my gosh.
We ship it. Some people want it overnight, where it costs more to ship it overnight to California than it does for the dressing.
And also the batter-fried lobster has been shipped
we've started
to
shipping
Florida, Georgia.
Oh my
Florida,
gosh.
Georgia,
And
California a couple times.
This is a following that you
kind
guys
of, yeah.
have.
And they want it for like a special occasion. One lady wanted it for Father's Day last year.
For Christmas
dinner. And they spent a lot of money on overnight.
But see, that has to make you so proud. It's like, because somewhere
it does.
somebody's going, this is Jeffrey's stuff.
I know.
Everybody's going,
look what I got.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well,
That's awesome.
What it is, it all started actually at the Potted Steer with Mr. Bohr.
It sure did.
With his batter fried lobster and his house dressing
Onion
and his
rings.
seasoning.
Yeah.
And, over the years, it went from Potted Steer to the Blue Heron, and we've continued the tradition.
Yeah,
with,
that's awesome.
This stuff. He was the inventor of it. So.
Yeah, that's very cool.
But we have the original recipes. And then...
is that a rub?
Well, what this is very similar to Lowry's seasoning.
Okay.
And we make
But
this
it's different,
ourselves.
yeah.
And we put this on all of our steaks, a lot of our seafood. We sell a lot of this also. But also we rub the way Lowry's seasoning was made was Lowry's, they have a prime rib house in Chicago and also in Las Vegas, and they would coat their prime rib in their Lowry seasoning. Then they started selling it in grocery stores.
Right.
Well, this is very similar to it, and this is how we do our roast our prime rib with the seasoning on it, which is different from a lot of other places that do prime rib.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's the original recipe.
And they can find and buy all these products on your website?
Well, we don't.
We don't do it on our website.
Okay.
They come in, we have it.
Or they call.
They're all displayed though right there.
Yeah, they are in the front door. Yeah.
And I'm actually working with the University of Kansas, which is a food science. Food science, and they're working on the nutritional value because I could sell like up to 5,000 of these a year without having
the nutritional facts on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
and people ask about that all the time, and I'm like, we make it every day.
We have a local.
We have no
supermarket.
preservatives in it.
And we have a local supermarket that wants to start selling it in their grocery store.
Oh,
so
the rules change, I think, right?
Well, yeah, that will have to have the nutritional value and all.
Then you may need a co-packer for that. They may need to be FDD or FDA approved or whatever
have no
the heck
idea.
it is.
Well, we might do it ourselves for
USDA approved.
Yeah.
Right. So, I got too many letters running around in my head.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That is interesting for sure. I think the most interesting part about that is that people want that taste of Jeffrey's when they're not at Jeffrey's, and that's important.
Yeah, and they want to do it at home.
Yeah, and that keeps them coming back because Jeffrey's stays in their mind for sure.
And this isn't just for salads. Mary,
Baked potato.
she puts on baked potato, on crackers, on celery,
chicken.
Chicken! I bet it'd be great.
Also, our croutons, they're pretty popular too. We sell those. We didn't bring any of those, but
Do you make those homemade?
those
also?
are homemade as well.
These are big old croutons.
Yeah.
Yeah, these aren't tiny little.
You need to bring him in for dinner one night.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
isn't Pepperidge Farm stuff.
No, of course not.
It's a real deal.
It
All
is.
right, so what are your biggest challenges of owning a restaurant? I mean, I know it's hard work, and I know we've got we've got to constantly stay on people, all for good, to make sure that the consumer is getting that consistent experience. But what are the biggest challenges of owning a restaurant? What are those things that you wish you just didn't have to deal with all the time?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, it's in my blood, so I don't mind dealing with all of it.
Yeah.
Anytime. It's everything from the advertising to paying our accountant to
I think some of it may be the employees sometimes.
you do.
A little bit. 'Cause
Employers always say that. The
you have to
hardest
be a
part is the employees.
psychiatrist.
Right?
You have to be a bank sometimes. You have to
Be a dad, a mother.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Every once in a while, you have to be a bondsman.
Yeah.
Hey, I've gotten those calls at night. Come bail me out.
So, I mean, and I worry about them all, every day when they get there. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Really? Because I'm just glad they show up. I'll be
Yeah.
at home. Because like I said, I work a day job still, so I come a little bit later. But
You work your ass off is what you do.
I still got plenty left, though.
Yeah.
Seems that's good.
But anyways,
She's not half-assing it.
yeah, exactly. I'll look at the time clock. Okay, well, so-and-so's showed up. Thank God. Or, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because
Yeah.
I worry about it because
Well, so
it's like a chain link. We need them all.
So tell us about that, because we've had some challenges at the lake with maids in the past. Not anymore. We've got a great maid now who runs all of our houses for us.
Good.
So thank goodness. And handymen once in a while, although we have some very reliable handymen now. But other vendors, the people that come cut the grass, it's like, did they come this week? It's like, nope, they didn't come this week. Did they come next week? It's a challenge sometimes. And I don't know, and we've got some various names for it, and some of it may be not all that fair, but it seems like there are a number of people in this area that really don't see past their next car payment. So
You got that right.
They get the money and, okay, I'm good. I can buy my beer. I can pay for my car. I got my apartment covered. So I really don't need to show up today.
And it's been bad too with the stimulus checks because that's been a small fortune for a lot of people.
You're right.
Yeah, right.
And they think, okay, we're okay. I got my cable paid.
Yeah.
And
Right.
they're fine.
Car insurance paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they don't think beyond that.
No.
And then,
It's like, I sit there, it's like, don't you want to build a legacy? They go, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I want to make it to the next payday.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's our employees are great, but that's we're not like that, but we used to be.
Like
like where I would worry from paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, yeah. I
know,
think everyone has.
I'm 58. I still worry
Well,
paycheck
yeah, you
to
still
paycheck.
worry about
But
it.
you know,
month.
when we hire someone, we don't hire someone to fire someone. And
Exactly.
This is our 5th year at
Interesting.
Jeffrey's, and
Yeah.
I can count on probably less than 2 fingers of people we've had to let go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we
so
have
you've got
that.
a good vetting process up front.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, we interview a lot of people, and we just know when they come in what their history is, if they're going to make it or not make it.
How do you know that? I mean, that's important.
Well,
the vetting of
experience.
employees, I still don't.
Well, when you
We've been down here a long time.
Yeah.
So we know a lot of people. I know usually their parents.
Okay.
Or
not to be disrespectful, but
Sure.
when we put in our ad, no body piercings, visible body piercings other than earrings, and they come in with something through their lip
Yeah.
or their tongue or
Yeah.
their nose,
Yeah.
we know right off the bat they're not going to work
Or the
out.
tattoos,
Interesting.
unfortunately. I'm not against tattoos, but
Yeah.
we just can't.
The visible ones.
Yeah, the visible ones.
Right. No, well, I mean, it's because you're making a presentation to the customer. And I know we live in a time when everything is supposed to be acceptable, but sometimes things are just not acceptable.
Well, on that, we received a bad review last year because we did not have transgender bathrooms.
We did.
Oh.
We did.
We did receive a.
We did
yeah.
receive.
Oh, well, I use the women's bathroom there all the time, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, but you're used to sitting down when you pee.
Well, I mean, the thing is that where else am I going? Where else am I going to meet chicks?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, when you say everything's acceptable, I don't know. I think we'll always have men's and women's.
We should.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned. So what are some of the other challenges? I mean, source of supply is a challenge. That has to scare the bejesus out of you.
Just recently, we actually took Miller Lite beer off our menu because they said they could not get it. And I said, well, if it's going to be printed on my menu and you can't get it, it's not going on our menu.
Can't get Miller Lite.
Well, they blame it on COVID. They said there's a shortage of aluminum. They can't get their hops. Their freight trains can't come in.
Oh.
So anyway,
is that all true? I don't know.
I don't know if it's true or not. I know, but when they tell me I can't get it, but Walmart has it, or Target has it, or the convenience stores has it.
Like you can't just go there and buy it and resell it. You got to go through the distributor.
We have to go through a distributor. So anyway, so we don't have Miller Lite because they told us they can't get it. I said,
was
fine.
it Stella too?
Well, Stella, they finally got that up and going.
But Stella's an InBev product, right?
It is.
And Miller's clearly not an InBev product. Yeah. That's interesting.
It is,
yeah.
Everybody, not everybody, but there's just too many excuses for COVID.
Oh, well, listen, I told you this, and I might have said it on a podcast. So I set up my business bank account when I created my law firm in March, and I used a bank who's got a big presence down here, and I've used them very successfully with the houses, etc. And I won't name them, all right? I'll give them a pass, but I couldn't get my debit card, right? Weeks went by. I can't get my debit card, all right? And I live in Belleville, Illinois, all right? And there is a town called Millstadt, 8 miles from Belleville, all right? And I said, well, where the hell are these cards being printed at? Because they're blaming COVID. They said in Millstadt. I said, it's 8 miles. It's 8 miles away.
I'll drive there and get it.
I did drive there and get it.
I would have too.
It says, how could this be a COVID problem? But it's too easy. It's like, COVID.
Yeah. Nobody will say, you know what, we just flat out suck right now. It's COVID. It's COVID.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. So, so with suppliers, I mean, that's the thing that I think would drive me bananas. I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken one time. I think I told you this. I was through the drive-thru, and they said, we're out of chicken, okay? And it's like, I said, well, what else do you have? And they said, well, we have sides. And it's like, I didn't go to Kentucky Fried Chicken to get sides.
I'll take some mashed potatoes and coleslaw.
I'll take that green bean special you got going on there, right?
Yeah.
So it is challenging, but you guys are just obviously doing it right.
Yeah, but it goes back to when you're in business, that's why you got to have thicker skin.
Yeah.
You got to embrace the grind because you're going to have problems, supply problems, people problems,
customer problems,
attorney problems, tax problems, customer problems, transgender problems.
Well, but let's talk about that a little bit. So now we're in the digital age, and anybody can say anything, and they will.
And it's horrible.
And how do you deal with that? Do you just try to avoid those reviews, or because you can't please everybody? There are particular types of people, and people are going to hate me for saying this, but school teachers are very difficult to rent to. I don't know why. They always find the house is 99% perfect and 1%'s wrong. It's like they're going to find the 1% and they're going to complain about it. Yeah. You can't please everybody.
Well, that's the thing. They can be at our place and for whatever reason something's wrong. They've had a couple glasses of wine. It's in their head.
Yeah.
And they'll go home, send. But we do not respond to any of them.
Yeah, we have a policy.
You can't.
We do not respond to good reviews or bad reviews, whether they're just leave it alone. And you'll see that our good reviews outnumber all of our bad reviews. We're at out of 5 stars. I think like a 4.9 on Facebook, 4.6 on Yelp or TripAdvisor, but we don't respond to anything.
Now we do read the reviews every meeting, every
because
Saturday.
some of them you can get better by for sure.
We do. When we have our weekly meeting on Saturdays, we start the meeting off with, and if our employees are listening, they know how it goes. These are the reviews we got, and we read the good ones, the bad ones, and if it calls someone out, then we read it, because if we have to read it, our employees need to know what
And
what
they
is
read
being
them
said.
too, though, because
They usually read them before
Yeah.
I get to it. I read them every day.
Because you've made it a habit. They want to know what
They wanna know-
They want to be prepared for that meeting. They don't want to be called. They don't want to feel on fire.
This last week, we had 4 or 5 positive reviews off of either Google or TripAdvisor or Yelp. And like I said, 95% of our, even higher, of our reviews are all positive.
Yeah.
But they all go down to the same thing, is usually how crisp and clean our uniforms are, our staff work looks professional.
Yeah.
And when Mary, myself, and my daughter, and a few other people that have worked with us in the past, our employees, several of them have worked for us for over 20 years at the other restaurants. So they know how we are.
Sure.
And this one girl said, we had like 3, this is what Mary's wearing now, but we had like 3 different uniforms to think about. And this one girl said, I noticed when I dress better, we make more money.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Versus this, versus a polo shirt that says Jeffries on it.
Yeah.
which is fine for a lot of places, but
Yeah.
This is just the standard we want to have.
Yeah, dress to impress.
Well, but I think it reminds the employees that, look, we're here to act in a particular way, right? Versus I just came in my ratty T-shirt, right? And I can act like I do at home. Right, exactly. So,
if you guys go to restaurants a lot, look at the uniforms of your wait staff next time.
Always
Whether
do.
it's their aprons or they'll have 25, they have 2 tables, but they'll have 25 pins of every color under the
and
rainbow.
50 straws.
yes. Yes. Yeah, and our waitress last night was fine, okay? But there was no uniform about her, right? And she had 2 full sleeves. And what I remember seeing was the sleeves of tattoos. And again, like you, I don't have a problem with tattoos, but that's what I remember from my waitress.
Exactly.
Right? I don't necessarily remember whether we had good or bad service, but I remember her 2 sleeves of tattoos.
And that's the thing.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And our wait staff has to also take tests. I want them to know what our scotches are, what our house drinks are, what our beers are, how our prime rib is made.
I hate that when the wait staff has no idea.
Or they say, wait a minute, I'll go check.
Yeah, what scotch do you have? It's like, we have Jack Daniels. It's like, no.
Something different.
So, we make them take a test so that they have a good idea of what we do have. They have to work in the kitchen for a couple days before
When
they
they're
go on the
training,
floor so they can actually watch and see how everything is made.
Interesting.
A lot of restaurants you go to, they started working that day and they started waiting tables that night.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's true.
they
Especially
don't have
nowadays
it.
because they're short-staffed.
Yeah, so they got to get them in production right away.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. So, what are your predictions for the lake this year? It's going to be crazy, right?
It is going to be crazy. Last year was our best year ever.
Yeah.
Congrats.
After being closed
Thanks.
almost 2 months with the...
Extra. We were closed January and February. We were open a week and a half, and that's when we had to close again.
Oh, my gosh.
And we just sat there thinking...
What the world happened?
Yeah, we were
Yes.
actually a little bit worried.
Yeah.
We were worried.
I mean...
Well, of course.
Yeah.
It was, the world shut down.
Because we didn't know, exactly. We didn't know what was going to happen, if we were going to get to
course.
reopen.
Right.
And then, of course, we reopen and we have these restrictions.
Yeah.
And,
we still had our rent to pay. We still had our insurance to pay,
Exactly.
our light bill, our sewer bill. We
But
still
no
had
revenue.
But no revenue.
right. Luckily,
Right.
we did have money saved. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah. Well, hopefully we've all, including the government, has learned a lesson to not react like cavemen the next time that a pandemic that kills 2% or less of us comes about.
The government will never learn.
That's probably true, right? Very, very
Anything they
frustrating.
can have leverage on the people, they'll use to the full extent.
Right, for sure. So many lessons that you've learned. First of all, you started learning these lessons very, very young, at 21. Both of you
Oh, yeah, we were both young, yeah.
in early 20s are in the restaurant business. So you're experts by the time you started your restaurant for sure. And then you've carried on traditions with respect to the lake. You've carried on your brand standards consistently over the years. And so you make it look easy. We talk about that often, right? We say, look, when everything's running well, they make it look easy, right?
Oh my gosh, and it's not, because sometimes,
right.
I mean, I hope the customers don't realize, but oh my gosh, so many things are going wrong that you don't even see.
Right.
But,
right. So you got to keep an even keel for sure.
You do have to keep an even
because
keel.
If you freak out, what's the rest of the restaurant going to do?
Exactly.
And your staff is going to freak out.
Yeah, well, they do sometimes.
Yeah.
But
right.
Thank God we have good, what's that stuff called to keep the sound out from the
kitchen?
Yeah,
the black panels or whatever.
You know what's that?
Soundproofing
stuff between the kitchen and the dining room.
Yeah. Because you don't want to hear what's going on back in the kitchen.
Sometimes you don't.
No, sometimes you don't. Sometimes there's dishes.
Tempers flare.
Well, just pretty direct on what we want to accomplish.
Oh, I got you, because I've never heard the kitchen noises. When I'm
you know
in
what?
there.
Next time you come for dinner, I'll take you back there.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I'll hold you to that.
The thing is, our kitchen is so small, and we have about 10 people back in this just cramped like sardines.
And it's hot too. It's hot.
It's hot.
Well, we have, it's better than most kitchens, though.
It is. We have a new air conditioning system we put in 2 years ago.
Keep that sucker cranked up.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. That would drive me.
Now,
see, that just makes the pressure worse when it's so stinking hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But our thing
is... But
you
can't keep it too cold because you're serving steaks. And
well, that's another thing. You know, I'm a very particular about hot food on hot plates.
Absolutely.
Cold food on cold plates.
And
I was just at a steak restaurant in Eureka Springs. Let me tell you something. It was $49 for a filet, and everybody's filet came out cold. The mashed potatoes were hot. The fillets were cold. To which they responded, "We'll take the fillets off and leave you with the mashed potatoes." That was it for me. It's like, what are you doing here? Well, all right. So I ate my damn mashed potatoes.
I would too.
Well, you just said, $49 for a filet.
Yeah.
With the price of the minimum wage going up,
oh my goodness,
everyone has to raise their prices.
Yeah.
Nothing's going down. And
you got to raise prices or reduce portions, but you don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that. And I drink my Diet Coke, and I stop by a local filling station and get my diet soda. Mm-hmm. And they've raised them twice now in the last 6 months. And the manager was telling me that she said, we have to raise our prices on everything because the cost of labor is going up. And,
that's going to be a challenge for sure.
That is going to be a challenge. There's going to be a lot of independent restaurants go out of business.
Oh my goodness!
Even more.
You have places like Chili's, Applebee's, Ruby Tuesday. They want to serve everybody for $9.95 for lunch. Yeah, and that's coming to an end.
Well, I mean,
it's going to be $15.95.
Again, we were just talking about QSRs, fast food.
Yep.
The price isn't, unless you're at McDonald's, who probably have a lot of franchisees upset with them because of the prices. The price at any QSR is $11. Yeah. That's what you're paying. Right? There's no $5 meals anymore.
No. And, about 5 years ago, my brother said, well, Jeff, you better get used to the $10 hamburger. Yeah. Well, now the $10 hamburger is the $15
And guess who's hurt the worst? The $15 an hour worker, because they can't afford any of it anymore. Exactly. So they didn't really advance their cause at all.
Right. It doesn't make sense.
They increased the amount of payroll taxes being collected.
Right.
That's for sure.
That's true.
That's what it's all about.
The more
I don't care.
Make,
it's not about the people. It's about the fucking revenue the government wants.
Right. Exactly.
The waste. Absolutely. Sorry. No.
All right. So with that said, so we're going to ask you guys, and you guys can answer this individually, but the unfair question is, if you had to sum up, right, if you were telling a young person or an old person who wants to become an entrepreneur for the first time, wants to build a business up, what are some what's advice that you guys either live by or wish that you knew back then? What are some of those great lessons?
Well, I've done a handful of interviews, and people say, I don't know about other businesses, but in my particular experience with restaurants, people always say, what would you recommend to somebody going into the restaurant business or the hospitality business? Yep. And my answer is always the same. Buy a comfortable pair of shoes. Yeah. Because you know what? They're long hours. And
there are some long hours.
Yeah. Prepare yourself.
Take your vitamins.
Yeah.
And you can get those at NHQ.com.
There you go.
Wow. What a shameless plug. Yeah. You walked right into it. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Right. So it's hard work.
Well, any business is hard work. And, a friend of mine years ago told me, they said, You would not believe it. When you own your own business, you think about it all the time.
And he does.
And I do. It's always about promoting our place, branding our place, trying to do something extra to get us some recognition one way or the other.
Don't rest, right? Don't rest. Don't rest on your laurels. If you rest on your laurels, you're about to get your butt kicked.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And I also have a saying that says, if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail.
Yes.
And, I'm a big fan of not running out of anything at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Making sure we have enough water glasses, tea glass, you name it.
Yeah.
I don't want to run out of anything because if we don't need it today, we need it tomorrow.
The attention to detail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
very good. Yeah. Good lesson. So, listen, the restaurant's called Jeffrey's, and it is just fantastic. If you haven't gone, you really owe yourself to go. All you got to do is go down 54 and go down KK toward Margaritaville, and you will see Jeffrey's on your right-hand side, and it is so worth the trip, if you can even get in, because it's a popular place, so you better bribe Mary to get in.
Call and make a reservation for the 5 o'clock seating.
Yeah. Oh, Jill does that all the time. It's Saturday, and she goes, "Hey, let's go to Jeffrey's." I said, "We ain't getting in. We're not getting in."
I mean, you will eventually get in. You just might have to wait in the bar. I mean,
yeah, well, it was no problem for me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, 1252 Highway KK, Osage Beach.
Yeah, awesome. Please go. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Thank you.